All right, we'll be going to Burundi next, of course.
Yeah,
we'll take
I think
very,
let's just go straight away
okay.
into the next discussion. There is no time now. Millions of voters in Burundi will go to the polls today in a referendum that could allow President Pierre Nkurunziza elongate his rule for another 14 years, beginning from 2020, when his current tenure expires.
Yes, indeed. And the process imposes an amendment of the country's 2005 constitution, which was adopted following the Arusha Peace and Reconciliation Agreement of the year 2000. Now, Burundians are being asked to vote yes or no to a constitution review. Tensions have been running high for months following a government clampdown on perceived opponents. And at least 26 people were killed nearly a week ago in attacks the government called the work of terrorists. Well, Cyril Abaku is here with us as a TVC senior researcher. Good morning.
Cyril,
good to see you.
Good morning, Mike.
Nice to see you.
Glad to be here again.
Nkurunziza seems to be having his way with a weakened opposition and, you know, fear, palpable fear everywhere.
A weakened opposition, a beaten opposition, a tortured opposition, a battered opposition. And the fact is the fact. But, you know, he's not looking for tenure extension or elongation. He is looking to be another Robert Mugabe of his country.
A live
so,
president,
yes, so I think we need to put that in a picture clear and early in the day to say that, look, he's not just looking for tenure extension. He wants to be there for life. And, I mean, the script is pretty clear. We've seen it play out in many African countries. And then maybe close to the end of his tenure, he would have groomed a son or an anointed successor to take over.
Or maybe when he gets to 2034, the constitution will change again.
No,
and
of course it will. That's what I'm saying. He will be there for life. By 34, there'll be another amendment again, and by then, whatever. I hope you know right now they are already systematically outlawing the media. The BBC
the international media have been kicked out.
The BBC and the VOA have been told, look, for reporting what did they call it?
For trying,
yes,
and for trying to, you know, influence people's
We all know that
there was a way they put it somehow.
We all know that decentralizing information is a form of democracy. That is why in
it's part of democracy.
Yes. So you see, basically what he has done is he is stifling the political space. And today's referendum is a fait accompli. It's going to come. When it comes, he's going to, you know, when 2020 comes, he's going to contest. I hope you know that after the fighting that killed almost 300,000 people, in 2005 became president, and then the law says five years renewable ones. In 2015, you recall that he traveled, I think, to Kenya or where, and then there was a coup because he was attempting to change the constitution and run for a third term.
Yes.
Now, from a third term, we are hearing 7 years of two terms. So if he wins the first 7 years, he's going to now stay for 7 instead of 5 years. And then, of course, who says he's not going to recontest? Mugabe did it in Zimbabwe. The picture is clear. I am concerned that for a continent that continues to have the same sort of sickness in almost every country, we've not found a common cure for a common disease. It's a matter for me, really. It's a matter for me.
I mean, you have Paul Kagame in Rwanda, you have Joseph Kabila in DRC. These are enough encouragement to him.
Museveni
in Uganda.
Exactly.
You see, in the Great Lakes region, where you have countries like Sudan, South Sudan, Kenya, Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda, and so on, the Rwandan model, where Kagame has stayed in, you know, Nkurunziza is following the exact same path.
Exactly.
Kagame is following.
Of course.
He is taking inspiration from me. But Mike, I wish that he was doing the work.
The exact
in Burundi,
thing Paul Kagame is
yes, or at least in Bujumbura, what Kagame has done in Kigali. If he was doing that, the discussion would have been a bit different. The narrative perhaps might have been a bit sympathetic to him, but he's not doing anything. And then, I mean, it's pretty clear, like you said. In every country, we see these things playing out, and he has proven that he is an equal and composite equivalent of what we've seen in Uganda, what we saw in Zimbabwe.
All right, we see just nearby, we see Kenya, that is a perfect democracy in comparative terms. We see Tanzania, perfect democracy in comparative terms, and they're doing well. I wonder what role they have to play as big brothers in that region to these smaller countries.
Well, you see, well, first of all, yes, we have the AU. We also have the, I think, East African Community, the EAC, and so on. But you see, Burundi and which other country now? And okay, well, you talked about Kenya and Tanzania.
Yeah.
Those big brothers have not tasted military coups. Those big brothers have also not fought wars. They have been largely stable, and it's organic, it's internal. You know that in politics, it's not always a case of what works here going to work there. What war and particularly guerrilla wars and rebellions bring up is that they raise very strong men. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is an example. Pierre Nkurunziza is another example.
Even Paul Kagame.
Even Paul Kagame too. You can see the trend. Once they have come through the trenches, once they've come through, even Robert Mugabe, who was a very different example in the whole of Southern Africa, also fought war. You know, so once they come to that system, it seems it makes them feel that
you feel insecure.
Feel insecure
for life.
Yes, and makes them think that without me,
nobody else
can.
Yeah, après moi le déluge, like
as the King of France would say.
Absolutely.
So yes, but I think that we can make a change.
How do we begin to make that change? I mean, you have Human Rights Watch on the one hand, just talking, UN talking, Catholic bishops. They've all criticized what's going on in Burundi, but nobody seems to be able to do more than that.
I hope
criticize and condemn.
I hope you know that as Africans, if, like I said, if those people start criticizing Paul Kagame, we're likely going to say, leave us alone. It's an internal affair. You know that Pan-Africanism. But you cannot transplant that same response to Burundi. You are likely going to say, since we have a common enemy, whatever Human Rights Watch and all those people say must be true. But if they said the same thing about Paul Kagame, who has done perhaps even worse in equal measure, okay, we are likely to say, as far as he's delivering the goods economically, let's let him continue. But he has turned Rwanda to a paradise. But you see, the man in Burundi has proven that power should be a power for power's own sake.
But didn't Mugabe do the same thing in Zimbabwe? He was a solution at a point, only for him to begin to become
law of diminishing returns.
Yeah, because he became the problem.
Mugabe's own case was even very pathetic because I think in the same year that they gained independence, there was emergency rule in Matabele land. Almost at the same time. Joshua Nkomo, Ndabaningi Sitole and so on. As soon as he came to power, all those people, it's a terrible thing. What my concern has been this: African scholars and African philosophers and African thinkers, after we've studied about Immanuel Kant and about Descartes and about all the Socrates and Plato's, let us now begin to rethink our own political situation and come up with homegrown solutions. The fact that as a continent we don't have Human Rights Watch is a global body. Amnesty International is a global body. Why haven't our activists and scholars also coalesced to come up with serious and strong Pan-African pressure groups that can speak for, that when they speak about Ethiopia or they speak about Zimbabwe or they speak about Nigeria, it can stand and it can stick. Mike, about 4 or 5 years ago, I was with you on Africa Today, and I said that if the Gambia was going to be liberated from the shackles of Yahya Jammeh, Nigeria had a role to play. What is the economy of...
Are you aligning yourself with the word already? Even in Burundi, they're saying, look, we have a right to our own style of governance, of democracy, that will suit our own peculiar environment.
Yes, of course, but you see, when people like Amnesty International speak, donors listen. Because Burundi is one of the poorest countries in the world.
Are we looking at some possible sanctions against Burundi here?
You see, but again, the fact is that
unfortunately, the people that will suffer.
For all you care, you don't know his friends. You don't know his friends. I mean, there was a time he had to go to...
He has Russia, he has China.
So fine.
They are friends of his.
Russia, Iran, and so on.
So we have to leave you here right now, but we'll be following what's going on, because the referendum is supposed to be today. So we'll get to follow to see the outcome, how Burundians are going to respond to this.
4.8 million.
4.8 million population. I know he has that, but let's see how he plays out anyway. All right, thank you very much, Cyril Abaku, for coming on the program.
My pleasure, Max.
Thank you.